Hi, hello, my name's John Wiley. I'm with QualiChem. I'm here today at Saunders Machine Works. They've been nice enough to allow us some time here to continue our training video series. So today I want to talk to you about a couple different methods for mixing coolant. If you use a metalworking coolant, you know there's ratios. You want to use the product correctly to get all the benefits and avoid all the problems, or at least try to avoid all the problems. So there's generally three different ways that the majority of shops, both in North America and even around the world, how they prepare their coolant. So the simplest and least expensive way of mixing a coolant is to do so manually. Now, while manual works, we do always recommend, for the sake of repeatability and efficiency, to consider the two methods I'll discuss after. But what's important with mixing manually is get a nice clean bucket. Don't just root around your shop and try to find something that looks clean enough. Start off on the right foot and get a clean bucket. The other thing that I think really helps, and I've been recommending it for a number of years now, is get a dedicated 1-quart container, because it helps with the math. In a 5-gallon pail, you're gonna have 20 quarts of water. So adding quarts in makes it easier just to get the ratios correct. On this particular bottle, I wrote down 2 doses. This into the 5-gallon pail is going to get you 10%. 1 quart into the 5-gallon pail is going to give you 5%, and a half a quart is going to give you 2.5%. So normally what we would recommend, fill the bucket up halfway with the water that you're going to use. Get the recommended amount of the concentrate into the bucket. We recommend power tools to get the mixing done most efficiently. Of course, you can bend over and use a ruler and stir it the way you would have paint a number of years ago. Whether you mix it by hand or you use a power drill, make sure all the concentrate's thoroughly mixed in with the water. Fill the bucket up the rest of the way of the water, so now you know your bucket's at whatever, 10.5 or 2.5%, and get your machine filled up. Now, the important thing to remember is, let's say you're gonna fill your machine up at 10%. Over the course of a few hours, weeks, months, you're going to need to replace the coolant in your machine. Typically, over time, as the water evaporates, your concentration is going to increase from 10% to 12 or maybe 14. So the majority of what you're replacing in your machine sump needs to be water. We recommend, rather than just adding straight water, you add a very dilute mixture of the coolant. So mix them up in here at 1-2%. Use that to top off your machine. Try to keep that 10% as consistent as possible, and you'll get the best results from your coolant. Now, if you're machining, making parts, you don't want to spend your life making coolant. So if you want to migrate away from doing things manually, the first sort of introductory level mixing unit, this unit here, this is a Venturi style proportioner made by Zebra Skimmers. They call it their machinist mixer. It's a very simple device. Water line comes in, you have an on-off valve right here. You control the concentration of the mixture by dialing this knob in here, either stronger or weaker depending on what you want. Now, while there are actually numbers here on this dial, they do not correspond directly to what you might get for output with our coolant or with coolants from other suppliers. So it's important that you test with the refractometer the concentration you're actually getting out of this unit at any given setting. There's an outlet tube that would connect on this side here. It's a very cost-effective unit. They also ship with a tube in the event that you want to use this on a 5-gallon pail. It does come with the collar that would be needed to thread this and make it secure in a 55-gallon drum. Again, this is from Zebra Skimmer. This is their machinist mixer. It works well with our coolant concentrates. Last of the ones we're going to discuss today is a piston style mixer. This unit we have today is from one of our preferred partners, Dosatron. We work with Dosatron USA in the United States. They make a really nice unit and they support it very well. So basically here, with this unit, inside there's a piston. As the water flows in this unit, the water flows from this side, coolant comes out, mixed this side. The water pressure is going to move that stroke up and down. You control the length of the stroke with this collar here, which corresponds then to how strong or how weak the coolant mixture will be. The nice thing about the piston style mixers, in contrast to the Venturi style, is regardless of your water pressure, the water flow rate, the piston's gonna move faster or slower with the water, but you're always gonna draw the same amount of concentrate up out of the drum. On the Venturi style mixers, they rely solely on the Venturi suction principle. Water flow can affect that, can really change your output. So if you're in a facility where water pressure varies greatly, Venturi style mixers tend not to be the best. These units tend to be right for companies that are using 2, 3, 4 or more drums per year. Product gets used the right way in the long run, you'll use less product because it's going to be getting mixed correctly. Try as you might with the manual method or even with the Venturi systems, there's always going to be a little bit of waste. So sometimes you can justify the expenditure on these with the savings that you'll have. The dosatron unit ships with a nice large strainer. This would connect to the end of the draw hose. This will then go down into the drum. They ship it with brackets or clamps so you can tighten that down. This goes down into the drum or the tote. The concentrates of our viscosities tend to be much more viscous than competitive coolants. As a result, we do recommend the dosatron unit that allows for more viscous concentrate to flow more freely through their system. Many of the piston style manufacturers today are recommending what they call installation kits. Dosatron offers something called the IPK34. We do recommend it whenever you're buying one of their, in this case it's D14MZ10 is the model. But the installation kit comes with a couple things that make the whole system run more effectively. Comes with a strainer. In the event you are in an area where there are large particles in your water supply, you don't want that damaging the internals on the piston. It comes with a backflow regulator, which is required in certain municipalities. When you install this in line in your plumbing system, it comes with a pressure regulator so you don't exceed any pressures that might otherwise damage the unit. All in all, it's a really nice setup. They send it pre-packaged with all the connectors that you would need to install it correctly. And they do require it for there to be a full warranty on the functionality of their dosers. And again, no matter how accurate these are, it's always important to verify with a refractometer, whether it's analog or digital. It's always good to actually verify the output coming out of the mixing units. It's really important to get your coolant mixed up correctly. It's the number one, if you're gonna start a coolant maintenance program, mixing the coolant correctly at the right concentration is the number one most important thing you can do. There's no point in troubleshooting or doing anything else if you don't have the mixing process down pat. Okay, so that covers a very quick overview on the 3 most common ways to mix coolant properly. You have your manual method, your Venturi machinist mixer, and the piston style, in this case dosatron dosing pump. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your sales rep or give us a call directly at our facility in Virginia. Thank you for listening and look for more instructional videos coming your way.